Hi there. So I've had quite a few questions as of late about my Aquila Gut and Silk 900 strings. So the Aquila Gut and Silk 900 strings are made in Italy by Aquila, and they're for guitars that were made from about 1880 to 1946, but you can also put them on a modern guitar. Basically anything that's like a de Torres style or later guitar, you can put these strings on. They also make a line called the Gut and Silk 800. Now that's for romantic era guitars that are a bit of a smaller scale, have a smaller neck, and in some cases have like pins at the bridge, and those will be for earlier guitars. But for anything from 1880 to later, you'll go with the 900s. Now these numbers also correspond to the Aquila Amber line, which is the Nile gut line, or synthetic gut, well, it's meant to imitate gut strings line of Aquila. And you'll see people like Euros Barrick using those on older guitars, and other guitarists who are using romantic era guitars but don't want to either go to the expense or maybe for philosophical reasons use the gut strings. So when you do first get these strings, there's a few things you'll need to know off of the bat if you're considering switching to gut. The first thing is the pitch. The pitch can only go up to 435 hertz. Our standard pitch is 440 hertz. So an agreeable solution if you really do want to play at full pitch would be to tune to 415 hertz or a full half step down and put a capo on the first fret, at which point you'll be playing in standard tuning. I myself have been tuning to 415 hertz, and I find that sounds really great on my Jose Ramirez. Also, a lot of guitarists back in Torrega's day and Lobe's day tuned to this pitch, or they tuned to 432 hertz, or in some cases 435, like the strings max out at, which was known as classical pitch, and some of them even 430. There were so many different pitch varieties back then. Which one should you use? Try them and see for yourself. You may find that you like a lower pitch, you may find that you like a higher pitch, but if you've been playing at 440 hertz, it will sound a little different. I feel like the most natural would be to go to 415, which is a half step down, because there are some similarities there, and you can put a capo on if you wish. Second, the color. When you take a look at the trebles, they're made from sheep gut, and it's also known as cat gut, but it's basically a sheep intestine that's wound, and they're yellowish in colors. They look a little different. Also on these line of strings, you see that the strings are oiled, so they slide a lot easier. And if you ever hear anything of Torregas or Lobes, or even Barrios, right, you hear there's a lot of sliding up and down, and those slides are a lot easier with these gut strings because they're oiled, they're varnished is what they're known as. So you can slide from fret to fret with a lot more ease than you can on a traditional nylon string, which tends to have a bit more friction. Next, you'll also notice the price is quite a bit higher than a standard set. So at least here in the United States, here in 2021, when this is being filmed, in February, a set of, say, Diodario Pro Arte is going to run you about $10. At least in my local music store here, they're selling for $9.99. So a set of these, it was in euros, was about 60 euros, and then there was 17 euros shipping. So all said and done, a total of, in US dollars, it was a total of $90, including the shipping. So that's quite a hefty chunk of change compared to a standard set of nylon strings. Is it worth it? That's something you'll have to decide. Why would you want to try gut strings then if they're that expensive? Well, a couple of reasons. One, for historical accuracy. Prior to 1948, when nylon strings were invented, everyone used gut strings. So if you're playing something by Lobe, playing something by Torrega, and you want to imitate an authentic performance, this might be the way to go for you. Second, they're a little easier to play with the slides. So if you prefer sliding, and that's part of your style, and you like a nice mellow sound, maybe the gut strings are for you too. And the third reason would be just to do something different. That's kind of why I did it. I didn't see that many people playing on gut strings, and maybe Rob McKillop had a couple of videos, but overall there was not very many videos. The last consideration, and this is an optional thing, that's why I'm leaving it at the end. Some people would say it's not optional, but the last consideration would be nails. So these strings are a little bit more susceptible to breakage when you play with nails. So I know Fernando Sor and Tarrega both advocated playing without nails in order to prevent breakages. When I first got these, I was playing with my just full long nails, and I did notice that one string, the E string, started to fray a little bit. So I cut my nails, and then for about a month, I didn't notice any additional fraying from that string. Now, Dionisio Aguado and others of the Romantic era did advocate playing with nails, and this is when they were playing with gut strings. So I don't think the argument holds water that you can't play gut strings without nails. I think it's a preference. If you prefer playing in the style of Tarrega, or you prefer playing in the style of Aguado, etc., try it for yourself. They're not cheap to replace if they do break. It's not like in, the 1910s or something you can just go down and pay a penny for another one. So that is something to consider as well. Also, I had to order these from Italy direct from Aquila. They're not that available. I haven't found them anywhere in the United States, either online or even special ordering it from the store. Now, my local music store orders lots and lots of strings by Aquila, but mostly ukulele strings. And in their special order book, they didn't even have a spot for these. They did have a spot for the Ambra 900, the synthetic line, but they weren't selling the authentic gut strings. Now, the only online site besides Aquila that I've seen is Thumann in Germany, and they sell maybe a couple of dollars less. So it's up to you whether or not you want to go with Aquila or Thumann. But I feel like ordering from the manufacturer is usually a safe bet. So that's the spoken word portion of this. Let's get to playing. I'm going to cycle through from some early music to some Baroque to some Romantic era, then maybe a couple of modern pieces. And that way I want you guys to hear the difference in the sound. How they sound a little different, a little less twangy, a little more mellow, okay? And I'll also put a title under each piece that I'm playing, and I'm just going to play a small snippet just for purposes of, of your hearing. So, great, thank you. If you have a question, comment it down below. If this has been helpful, give it a like, and consider subscribing. All right, let's get on to the music. Thank you for joining me.